Hello friends, very good evening to you. I am going to read for you a beautiful, lovely, humane poem, very touching poem by our esteemed poet from Kerala, Khabir Ahmed. The title of the poem is A Cup of Tea, and just see where all he will take you along with this cup of tea. A cup of tea. Would you please make a cup of tea for me? Would you please make a cup of tea for me? While making tea, please remember I am a diabetic. The other day the doctor checked and the fasting was 150. Would you please make a cup of tea for me? While making tea, please do not forget to put natural sugar-free. Please do not forget to put foliage leaves reared, watered and plucked by my sister Malti. Malti and others, it is her skilled hand, it is her dexterous hand that plucks the green leaves, and when she plucks leaves, her hand sings. Her body dances chumar meticulously. It is her undulating hand that turns the leaves into green gold. It is her sweat and sigh that makes tea so scented and so superb. When I touch tea, as if I don't touch tea, but I touch her vibrating blood drenched in sadness. When I sip such tea, happiness descends upon me, but then immediately that happiness is engulfed by strange pains, pains of age-old slavery. I eat those pains, I swallow those pains, I rear those pains in my bosom like my dear child. And then, like a blacksmith, I shape and reshape those pains into poetry in the anvil of life. Would you please make a cup of morning tea for me? And when you make tea and when I drink tea, drinking tea makes me very nostalgic. I go back to history. I read and reread the pages of slavery and drudgery. What a sad trajectory. And when I take tea, as if I do not take tea, but sip somebody's angers and agonies, licking the hopes and dreams, emotions and feelings of some old and humbled men, and I being a poet. And I being a poet eat those feelings, swallow those feelings, rear those feelings in my bosom, and then shape and reshape them into poetry. Would you please make a cup of tea for me? A cup of warm tea, a cup of smoking tea, a cup of sumptuous tea, putting these green leaves. A cup of tea renews me, revives me, revitalizes me. It takes me to the world of greenery. It takes me to those souls who make tea. And while making tea, they make dulcet poetry. They are indeed poets, my own clan, my own brothers and sisters. I love them. I become moist in their love. Would you please give me a warm cup of tea and leave me alone for the sake of poetry? So here is a poet enjoying his cup of tea and writing poetry. I think that this is an amazing poem, the way it brings out the pain of the laborers who work on tea plantations, and now we hope that their condition is better. I don't know what has happened to them in these corona times. Several of the labor laws have been amended and they have taken away lots of protective features and articles that these laborers had and given strange powers to the industrialists. I do not know if the same type of restrictions and same type of limitations have come into the lives of the Assam and the other plantation workers, as we don't even know if the same laws apply to them. So we will find out. I am saying this because I, as a student of history studying in the Department of History in sunny Buffalo, as a master's student, wrote my MA thesis on tea, on the tea trade that the British had with India, and it's on the profits of the tea trade, and I mean it's a huge topic. It's a huge topic because it's also entangled with the opium wars, right? But if we just focus on the profits of it, if it is possible to leave the opium wars for a minute and just talk about when, I remember a book by Percival Griffiths, or Percival Griffiths is the name of the officer who found it here, but they discovered tea in northeast India, and they were ecstatic that they had found something in this part of the country that they controlled in a better fashion than they controlled China. And then on they started meticulous plantation and cultivation of tea, and that is a different, the cultural impact of tea in Europe and in Britain in particular is a different topic. Just like temperance movement and tea is a different topic, but just the profits of the tea trade is something very big and interesting in itself, and that is what my paper is about. I will go back to that paper and to the archives again and see what all can be done out of it, and how many ways can it be revised, and how many papers actually come out of it, practically speaking. That's a distant dream, but certainly we will turn it into reality. In the meantime, this is a beautiful poem about, appreciating the labor of the people who pluck these tea leaves and who take care of them. I thank the poet for allowing me to read this poetry, and I hope that you have enjoyed my reading of it, and also a few notes that I had to share with you on my tea paper and on my research streams. Thank you so much, friends, and have a lovely day.